So, my friends, um, welcome. Welcome to our meditation session together. And meditation is a way that we care for ourselves, and in doing so, we care for others. We care for ourselves in that meditation is a time uh, to heal, to rest, to open, to discover kind of inner harmony and health that comes when we're no longer in conflict with ourselves or no longer chasing things and running away from things, pushing things away and grabbing hold and holding tight. Uh, when all those things kind of bottle up energy or limit us and tighten us, and to sit here and care for ourselves and allow all the conflicts and tensions to fall away and sit here in a healthy, present, open way, then that um, disposes us to more likely to meet people in a way that cares for their humanity, cares for their humanness, cares for their life. And we're more likely to meet people without conflict and without pushing away or holding on or without hostility or greed or something like that. And so it's understood that this practice we do is really meant for caring for self and for caring for others. Some people emphasize one more than the other. Some people are inspired by the idea that meditation is a way to make us more helpful for the world around us in a way that's deeply helpful in the sense that we know the best, we know the healthiest, we know something, what's possible for happiness. And some people do it for their own sake, for their own well-being and happiness. But even though the choice might be for one or the other, you can't separate the two, and the two come hand in hand. As we benefit others this way, we benefit ourselves. As we benefit ourselves this way, we benefit others. And so today, as we sit, perhaps we sit here to benefit in all directions. And we do so by offering our care and our friendship, our friendly attentiveness to our breathing. And that breathing is the place where we offer our care, offer our kindness, our compassion, it's a training ground for how we can be present in a way that's clear and healthy and open and directed. It's not just a matter of learning how to stay with the breathing and be with the breathing. A lot of it has to do with learning how we can be with the breathing. So as we sit here today, you might experiment and call upon your capacity for kindness, tenderness, compassion, truthfulness, clear, unconflicted presence, to really be here as a training ground for a way of being with self and others that allows for this deep movement towards spiritual and psychological health. So to adjust your body into a meditation posture that is suitable for you to be both alert and also to meet yourself, be with yourself, as if you're going to be with a good friend who's, maybe a little bit troubled and needs the attention and care of you. Gently closing your eyes and feeling, sensing, being with yourself, checking in. Without an agenda, just check in with yourself, your body, your mind, your heart. How are you? And then taking a few long, slow, deep breaths. And what you're offering as you take a deep breath is attentiveness, attentive to the body's experience of breathing. And the long exhale is a time to let go of the world, of your thoughts and concerns, just for these minutes, so you can be more fully here and present for yourself. And letting your breathing return to normal. And for a few of your exhales, relax the different parts of your body. Soften. As you exhale, perhaps there can be a quieting, gentling of your mind. Quieting of your thinking. A calming of the mind. And then to gather your attention around the body's experience of breathing. Some people do so more in the belly, moving. Some people the chest. Some people more the air going in and out through the nostrils. And some kind of the global experience that includes all of those areas. But the body's experience of breathing. And rather than the idea that you're now going to focus and concentrate on the breathing, the focus is more on sustaining a friendly, kind attention on the breathing, as you would if you were being with someone who was troubled or sick or somehow challenged, a friend of yours, and you were going to stay and be present. So focus on that offering of your presence, kind presence, to your body breathing. Not interfering with the breathing, not interfering with your friend, but there to accompany, to be present with a friendly presence, a kind presence, a caring presence that says, "Here, my friend, I'm with you." Gently, quietly, attending to the breathing with kindness or compassion or care, with gentleness. But really do attend. Stay there. Stay nurturing yourself with a simple experience of breathing in and breathing out. And then as we come to the end of this sitting, to turn your gaze outward to the people of your life, your neighborhood, your communities, towns, cities, country. And to offer that and that gaze a kindness or friendliness, a gentle care, caringness for all beings. And to consider how any benefits you received from today's meditation, any ways in which you feel calmer or better, and how that can translate or be applied to support the lives of others today? What can you do to make the lives of others a little better? Maybe as simple as smiling or small acts of kindness, small words of appreciation, small words of thanks, well-wishing, or bigger things. Because of the mutual way in which caring for self and caring for others reinforce each other, they benefit each other, they grow together. If you care for yourself, care for others. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. And may all beings everywhere be free. And may we contribute to that possibility. So, I'll offer today another story from the Jataka tales, the tales from the former births, lives of the Buddha, that are, as I say, kind of fables. And but they're fables which carry the values that Indian Buddhists of ancient times had and wanted to convey to others. And you get a very different feeling for Buddhism from these stories that are told, the values in them, and how do people relate to each other, and the virtues that are emphasized. And you get a sense of how, what Buddhism is emphasizing for how to live a life, as opposed to what to believe or what to, understand philosophically or metaphysically or something like that. And they belong to the values of another time, another place, and sometimes maybe it's a little, some aspects of it are a little hard for us in the modern world to appreciate, but some of it seems universal in these wonderful fables. So this one is about a golden deer, and this is about a deer that was magnificent, with the golden fur and antlers that were shining silver, and eyes that were like kind of sparkling, radiant gems, jewels. And because this deer was very wise, but because of its great beauty, it was often searched for, and hunters wanted to have it and capture it as a trophy or something. So it would go into deep woods and hide in inaccessible places to be safe. But it was content being there because the deer liked to meditate and would sit there and meditate and become wiser and kinder in the process. So there it was, the deer in its hiding place, and it happened to be the thicket of woods where it hid was close to a river. Upriver, at a city upriver, a wealthy merchant died and left his wealth to his son. And his son, who was a bit of a playboy and gambler and other things, started to spend the money quite extravagantly for all kinds of things, and pretty soon had spent up all the money. Not only spent it, but had come into deep debt. And the creditors came after this son to get their money back. But not having any money or anything to offer, the son had a little trick up his sleeve. He thought that he kind of made up on the spot, maybe an ill thought out plan, and that was, come, I have money for you. I have a treasure that's buried in the sand next to the river, and we'll go down there, we'll dig it up, and you'll have your money back. And so this crowd of creditors, because there was a lot of debt he had, and this young man were walking down the river and up the river, and on a sand embankment, right, kind of that goes down to the river, kind of steep, and the young man pretended to slipped intentionally in the sand and fell into the river with the raging water. And the plan was to be swept away by the river, in this raging water, and so that the creditors thought he died in the river through an accident of slipping and falling, and would no longer be chasing after him for their money. And in a sense, that's what happened. The boy kind of feigned the slipping and slipped down into the river and got swept away. But what it turned out was the river was quite strong, and there was no way to get back onto the shore. There's just like big, wide river with raging water carrying him down, and it carried him down the river a long ways. And after a while, he felt like, this is serious. I can't get back to shore. I'm going to drown. I'm cold. Things are difficult here, and greater rapids downriver. So the young man started calling out for help, and in his screams for help, the golden deer heard the cries for help, and the deer said, "Well, as long as I'm alive, I'm not going to allow anyone to die that I can help and save." And so he dashed out of his thicket in the woods and to the river, and jumped into the river, and swam out to where the young man was, and kind of ducked under the water and came up underneath the man and picked him up on his back, and then swam back to the shore. By this time, the young man was quite cold. Hypothermia set in. Was quite weak, and so the deer brought him into his thicket, secret little place he had, and over the next couple of days nursed him back to health, to well-being, brought him fruits and nuts from the forest, water, kept him warm, and then the young man revived and felt good, and so the young man thanked the deer, and this is quite something, and anything I can do in return. And the deer said, "Yes, I'll bring you back. I'll take you back out to the road so you can go back to your city. But please, promise that you will not tell anyone where I am, so I can stay safe here." And the young man said, "Yes, I promise." So the deer carried him out through the thickets of woods and forest, and showed him where the road was to the city. And the boy then returned to the city, and by now no one recognized him, or maybe it was a different city or something, and it was the capital of this country. Now it happened that after a while, the queen of the country had a dream, and she dreamt of a great golden deer with silver antlers and gem-like eyes, who in her dream was very, very wise. And she was intrigued and desirous of that wisdom, to be a student of this wise deer that she had dreamt about. So she asked her ministers to please go find this deer and bring it to her so she can learn its wisdom. But no one knew where this deer was, and so a proclamation was sent out with people throughout the town announcing if anyone could find this golden deer or find out where it is for them to, that they would receive a big treasure, chests of treasure. And so this young man heard this and he said, "Oh, well, I know where the golden deer is." And so he went to the queen and said, "I know where it is, and I can bring you there," breaking his promise to the deer. And so then the queen assembled her soldiers and people together, and they went, maybe a little bit afraid to go into the woods, and came with their spears and arrows, and started to kind of circle around the place where the deer was and making a lot of noise. And the deer could see through the trees, the spears and the arrows and the soldiers, and said, "Oh, I'm here to be captured." So what he did was he got up and in a stately, calm way, walked right to the queen who was with everyone. And the queen got a little bit scared, had this big deer walking right up against her. She pulled out her bow and arrow and was going to protect herself. But there's something about the non-threatening nature in which this big deer came walking up to her that she didn't let the arrow fly. And the deer stopped and said, "What are you doing here? And who brought you here? How did you find me?" And the queen said, "Oh, it's this man here, the young man that showed us the way and showed us where you were." And the deer said, "Oh, there's an ancient saying, better to rescue a log from the river than someone like you." And the queen didn't understand that. What are you talking about? Not saving someone? And "Oh," the deer said, "this man, he was drowning in the river. I plunged into the great river and fought the rapids and brought him back to the shore and nursed him back to health. And then he promised he would never tell anyone where I was in my safety." And the queen was horrified to hear this, to hear that this person who had risked, this animal that risked its life to save another human being, had been betrayed, and that the young man had made a promise, and the promise was betrayed. And so she took her bow and arrow and she said, you're a traitor, you're betrayed, and this is terrible what you did." And the deer said, "No, don't shoot, don't shoot. You promised the young man that you would give him a treasure if he brought him to you. He brought you to me, and he should be given the treasure. But maybe you can banish him from the queendom." And so that's what the queen did. And the man left with his treasure, but never to come back to that country. And then the queen said, "Please come with me to the palace. I'd like to learn from you and your teachings. But I'll offer you a wish. That's my payment. Any wish you want." And the deer said, "Please pass a law that no one is allowed to injure or hurt or kill any animal in this queendom." And the queen said, "Okay, I offered you a wish, and that's what you take. That'll be the new law." And they went back to the palace, and the deer taught both the queen and the ministers and many of the people of the capital the virtues of kindness and friendliness and generosity and truthfulness and all the wonderful virtues. And that all went well, except that farmers the animals started eating the crops of the farmers, and farmers couldn't chase them away or couldn't injure them or kill them to stop them. So there became an uproar from everyone about the problems they had. And so the great golden deer went out into the world and told all the animals, "Don't eat the people's food. They need to be able to grow their own food and support them. They're not going to kill you, but don't you take their plants and crops." And the animals agreed. And in this way, the kingdom became vegetarian, and the animals were safe. So there's a lot of kind of interesting kind of little lessons in this story. Maybe a kind of fantastical story and fable, but certainly the value of helping others and preserving life and saving life and dedicating oneself to, even at the risk of one's own life, to help others. It's a huge value of ancient Buddhism that you see in many of these stories. And the tremendous importance of truthfulness, to speak the truth and then adhere to the truth, especially if you made a promise. And the value of not harming. And there seems to have been a trend in certain parts of ancient Indian Buddhism of kind of emphasizing or pointing towards vegetarianism as so that no animals, nothing gets killed and injured. So that's a story for today, and just like the deer stayed in its quiet, secret place, so it could cultivate its great compassion and care and wisdom, so may you go to your secret place of meditation and be a place where you can develop your own kindness and compassion and truthfulness and care for this world. May you be the great golden deer that is wise. So, thank you.